Hey, Scarlett.
Hello and welcome to the channel. And today's video is going to be a look into what went into this custom Marvel Legends Infinity Saga Captain America the Winter Soldier Black Widow. So I got this figure for Christmas, around Christmas time. I really wasn't planning on getting it, but because there are a few things that I noticed with the figure that weren't jiving, but I still got it just so I could have a representation of the Black Widow now in my collection. As far as the movie version goes, my preferred version was when she appeared in Iron Man 2, her first appearance. That look overall. I saw the figure and I thought, well, I got it. I actually got two, one for myself and another for my sister, because the Black Widow, particularly the Scarlett Johansson MCU Black Widow, is her favorite character in the MCU. So I knew I was going to eventually have to get one for her. And I said, well, what the heck? Let's just get it for myself and see what we can do with it, in the future. So there were some, like I said, there were some issues that I had with the figure, even since when it was first announced that it was coming out. I noticed a few things that were like off with it. One particular feature that is still bothering me, but I really don't know how to fix right now, so I'll probably just leave it like that. But I'll mention it in a little bit. So the figure right now doesn't have anything as far as like paint apps that I have applied. It's the customizing aspect of this figure is mainly just for poseability, right? So little things that I've done, that I've mentioned in previous figures, and if you saw my last video with the Ms. Marvel custom, some of the things that I did on that figure I applied here. But the thing is, this figure does have some particularities, you could say, in that the way it is made is not like most Marvel Legends. Like I've mentioned in the Miss Marvel video, I don't collect a lot of Marvel Legends, so I don't know the ins and outs of what every figure is how it's made and all of its parts, But I have noticed that for the most part, the torso sections are made from a different plastic. Some of the hip parts are made from different plastic and all of that, while the legs are softer plastic. So in this case, I had to do some breaking apart of parts in order to access some areas of the figure. So let's start with that. So first of all, the hands that she currently has come from the Black Widow, the standard Marvel Legends Black Widow figure that released last summer, the superposable Black Widow. The hands that comes with this figure suck. She comes with she comes with like I don't know what you call those gloves, but that are like half gloves, and the fingers are exposed. But that's the kind of hands that she came with. But the thing is that The trigger finger was all one piece with the other fingers of her hand, like this. So when trying to fit her guns into her hand, the trigger guard would not. Since the hands were fused, the fingers were fused. The trigger guard, she couldn't hold her hand. She couldn't hold her gun in her hand properly because the guard would get in the way. Um, since the hand was fused, so the guard could not go into and between the fingers and have her grip the handle properly. I had initially cut into the hands that the figure came with, but eventually I just settled on putting the hands that came with our standard Marvel Legends Black Widow, and those are working perfectly. That's the ones that she has. But as far as the other features, so let's get into that. Let me just remove the gun. Okay. So where do I begin? Well, I need to start removing pieces. So let's start with the head. So let me start with the head. So you can see I carved a notch on the neck, like a V, in the front and the back, so that she can have better range moving front to back. Especially with this head sculpt that has the shorter hair. The one that comes with the longer hair, it kind of impedes her movement of her head, even going forwards and backwards. So when this particular head, the poseability is greatly enhanced with this little trick. I just, with an X-Acto knife, I just carefully cut the notch. And then you can see that, well, you can't see it right now, but you will see in just 1 second. I gave her an enhanced ab crunch. This is how it looks from the back. So you know how much range was added to her. And I'll go backwards. You can see right there the cut that I made. When it's the figures in standard normal, standing posing, a standing pose, you can't see the notch that I cut off. But once you start bending her backwards, you're gonna start to see it, but you're not gonna bend her. Well, you can see something that I already did. You can see, you're not gonna bend her backwards that much, So, but anyway, you already saw that the torso piece has been cracked open, and the reason for that is for me to be able to do this cut. Because you will see how the entire system is on the inside, how the ball joint, the dumbbell joint that's on the inside, you'll see how that works. So I used again an X-Acto knife that has a like a chisel edge, and just jammed it in there and started cutting into the sides until some of the prongs that hold the two pieces together were cut. And then I just jammed a flathead screwdriver, slightly twisted it enough to crack it open and be able to separate the two pieces. Okay, so there you can see how that mechanism works for the ball joint there and the torso. So again, I carved out a notch right there, so that gives it the extra range, right? Because if I had that normal, I wouldn't be able to bend the figure so much forwards. And on the torso piece, you can see how much I cut off. I probably cut off a little too much. I would have liked it when I bent her backwards. I wouldn't be able to see the notch, but like I said, you really can't. If she's standing normal and you're posing her, she's usually gonna be bending forwards most of the time instead of arching her back, right, like that. So I think it works. And then this entire piece comes out like this. All right, so that's how you would access the this part right here, and it's fitted right there in that little cavity right there. The other thing that I did on the torso on the inside, you'll be able to see it better like this, is that behind the abdomen area, she has something similar to this little C shape. But I with the Dremel, I carved that off, carved that out. Sorry, you can't talk right now. So that gave me even more of the range needed for the forward crunch. So this is what I was saying about the prongs that you need to cut, that you cut off when inserting the blade. I cut off around this area right here, around the sides, and I cut two of these off at the bottom. And then once I was able to thread the screwdriver, I was able to crack it and be able to split it open. And this is how the hip is placed on this figure, with that notch right there, like this. So as far as the torso piece, the other thing that I did is I carved out the area around here, the crotch, into a, like I did with the Miss Marvel, like a V shape down here. Just because it looked a little ugly, it was just a square, like a rectangle shape. So I said, let's cut it into like into a more feminine shape, and it's now like it has like a slight V angle to it, right? And then at the back, at the booty, I also carved out just a little bit out of the bottom of her buttocks, so that it would be able to get some range going backwards. And you can see right there the marks from the dremeling, right? Now the hip piece, this is already glued back in, but similar to the torso piece, you have to crack the hips open. So I had to split it from the top on down to the sides. You can see already some of the repair job that I had to do when putting it back together. So you have to insert the blade and then try and cut downwards, right, into the hip, so that you'll be able to split it open. Because the mechanism for the ball joint for the hip is something similar to this. So it's facing this way. And basically I did kind of the same thing. Cut a notch on top and then at the bottom. And you can see how I dremeled out here at the top of the hip to get that, and also at the bottom to get the a spread, bigger leg spread. So when you put the hip back on, now she has greater range going outwards, whereas before it was something like this. So obviously the Black Widow needs to be more flexible, so I couldn't get her to do the full split without having to carve out even more of the hip, but then that would be exposing it on almost to the sides, so that hides it perfectly. The torso piece hides it perfectly. However, one of the things that I couldn't fix that has bothered me the most about this figure is the actual width of her hips. So you can see the what I call the stem of the ball joint system. This piece right here in the middle, it's a little too long, and that makes the hips sit further out from the torso piece. Let's take a look better with this up front. Well, we gotta put it together actually. So you can see how much room there is on the sides, on the hips, between the crotch and the inside portion of the hip. There, even before I carved anything out, I only carved off at the bottom, nothing at the middle area where this where the stem crosses. So ideally for me, the hip piece should be something like this, closer right on the this leg right here. Oop. Okay, so like as I was saying, so ideally the hip should be a lot more closer to the inside of the crotch, so it should be something like this on this side, right? And it's a little more in line with the shape of the body and the curve. Right, if we just block this out, I think it looks better. Instead of having her with wider hips, right? I don't know. That's even, it's just a little change, just a millimeter or two shift to the inside would do it, and I would still be able to get the range for the hip, although this would be in the way, right? But yeah, that's the thing that has been bothering me the most about this, and I was trying to see how I would be able to fix it. I would probably have to. I was thinking maybe possibly cutting off, leaving the center piece, so I would still be able to attach it onto the back torso piece, right? And then cut off, like this much on each side, and then insert like a dowel going from the middle, right? And then drilling on this side, drilling a hole, and then on this side, on this part of the ball stem system, drilling another hole. That way the dowel that goes across I would be able to, put it all together and just glue it in. But I would need to find something that is strong and about, I don't know how thick it should be, but it shouldn't be that it shouldn't be that large. I don't have anything comparable, but it has to be like, I don't know, 1 at least maybe 1 to 2 millimeters at the most. So I have this needle here, so it would probably need to be around the thickness of the needle. All right, I will need to be the thickness of the needle, and then cross it through the center of this piece, and then drill the holes on these sides so that I would be able to thread the two pieces into one. So that's one solution. The others, maybe, but I don't, if I had the skills, I would probably just 3D print that piece, but that would be me having to know 3D, but I don't, so I purposely didn't glue the figure back together because I wanted to make this video to show you guys what you need to do if you want to do it to customize this particular figure and give her better range. And now she can pose perfectly going forwards, back. You know, look at how much range. Oh, I gotta tighten this up. Now she's got a lot of range going backwards, a lot of range going forwards, outwards, and like I said, the split. You know, so now even going upwards, looking up, even though the hair gets in the way, and she can look down a little bit better. So now the figure is just a little bit better. It's just that this those wide hips is what's bothering me the most. Because if you pose her in like a natural stance, you can see how wide that looks. Yeah, that's what bothers me the most. So that's why I always have her like walking in a walking pose, you know, so that doesn't look so egregious. You know, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all of that. And I'll be seeing you in the next one.